If you see a little boy walking down a road on a rainy night, beware. Part 1, it was 9 p.m. On a rainy Saturday night, I got into a fight with my boyfriend Jack. After arguing back and forth for an hour, I decided I had had enough and got up, grabbing my car keys. On my way out of the apartment, I hurried to my car while the rain was pouring down on me. I managed to get in my car without being completely soaked. I turned the car on and started driving. Without knowing where I was going, I decided to go on a long drive through a fairly secluded road to calm my mind. Without having other people driving or honking around me, I wanted peace and silence. I wanted to relax. I was feeling much better just 10 minutes into the drive. When I thought I saw a kid walking on the side of the road, I squinted my eyes, trying to see better. It for sure looked like a little kid with his back turned towards my car. I was confused. Why would a literal kid be here, walking on the side of such a secluded road with nothing for miles? That too, on a rainy night at 10 p.m. When I got closer to the kid, I started slowing down. It was a little boy, maybe a 7 or 8-year-old. "Hey kid, are you okay? Do you need any help? Where are your parents?" I called out. The boy turned around, drenched in rain, his skin as pale as a ghost, eyes sunken in, hollow cheeks with wide open eyes. He looked pretty frail. "Are you okay? Where are you going?" I said. The kid showed no emotion. He didn't reply to any of my questions, just looked at me with his wide eyes. There was something wrong with him. I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was something strange about him. I asked again, "Do you need a ride? You want me to take you somewhere to your parents? Maybe?" After a few seconds, he finally nodded and started slowly heading towards my car. I opened the door and held it open for him to get in. He looked painfully cold. I had an extra coat on my back seat, so I grabbed it, offering it to the boy to wear. He took it and started putting it on. It was obviously too big for him, but he needed something warm to wear. "So, where do you need to go, and why are you alone on the road at this time?" I asked. He offered no explanation and quietly said. Down the road, I was confused, but decided against questioning him any further, and started to drive down the long, empty road. I tried to ask him if he needed anything else, if he needed to call somebody, but he just ignored all my questions and didn't reply. A few minutes into the drive, he started acting weirdly, yawning and opening his mouth way too wide, nearly impossible for an adult, let alone a kid. He started fidgeting with his fingers, and when I looked at his hands, they looked out of proportion. The palms were way too small, and the fingers way too long. His index finger must have been 6 inches long, and that was not normal at all. I started feeling nervous and, to be honest, scared. I picked up a kid walking down a secluded road on a rainy night all alone. He is in my car now, and yeah, a kid cannot possibly hurt me or something, but it felt way too weird and scary for some reason. While I was submerged in my terrifying thoughts, he tilted his head slightly to look at me. I asked him if he wanted to talk now, but he just stared at me without saying anything. He kept staring at me for what felt like forever, but probably would have just been 2 minutes. He finally started opening his mouth to talk. I looked at him as he opened his mouth. His teeth were extremely sharp, too sharp for a human. He said, "I am not what you think, I'm sorry." For a moment, I felt like I couldn't breathe, but then I tried to think of it as a silly joke and asked, "What are you? Then, are you not a kid? What's your age?" 8. Letting out a laugh, he nodded his head no and spoke, "I'm 89. I laughed it off, telling him he's a naughty kid, and I love naughty kids. My nephew is an extremely naughty kid and says things like that. He looked at me and said with a stern tone, "I'm not a kid." At this point, I was sure I've put myself in a dangerous situation, and I'm going to have to pay for it. Somehow, I should have called the police and have them deal with this, I thought to myself. The boy started reaching into his pocket and pulled out something looking like an old sack. It looked impossibly big to fit into his little pocket. He reached into the sack and pulled out something looking like little spherical chocolate chunks with something golden scattered in it. I looked at him, confused. "Thank you for helping me. It's for you," the boy said. I didn't know what to do, so I stretched my left hand out and he placed the tiny spherical things on my hand. Not knowing what to do with them, I put them into my coat pocket, smiling weirdly at the boy and thanking him. He then started to close his eyes while whispering something to himself. At this point, I was just ready to drive through this freaking road, and when the road ends, return this kid to his parents, maybe off to somebody he knows, and just go back home, cuddle my BF to sleep. I couldn't wait to get out of there. The boy slowly started talking again. "You don't know what you're getting yourself into yet," he sighed. "You have to keep driving until you can. This road won't end anytime soon, but you have to keep going. I have been walking down this road for 5 years now, and you are the first person to be able to see me. And now that you have seen me and taken me in, you have to keep going with me. Just like I have been going since 5 years now. The end is near, not too far. It felt like my heart was coming up my throat, my stomach clenched, my palms getting sweatier, and my brain freezing. I looked at the boy, and he looked serious. He didn't look like an innocent child fooling around. No, not at all. He looked like a wise person who has seen and experienced a lot, and who knows what he's doing and talking about. What do you mean? How long do I have to keep going before this road ends? I asked. He looked at me with a sympathetic expression. A long time in a couple of years. Maybe I started feeling dizzy and felt like I need to throw up when the boy said, I have an offer for you. You get to choose. You can either drive and take me to my destination, which will take no less than 2 years, and then you can go back to where you came from. Or you can accompany me in a ritual that will make everything easier for us. But I need your participation in it. Part 2. What kind of a ritual? I asked. The boy stared out of the window for a while before he began to speak. You and I need to break the barrier between your world and my world so I can cross it and enter my own world. What kind of barrier is there? And what world do you belong to? I asked. The world of Zagamarth. It looks almost similar to your world that we are in currently, but simultaneously, it's exactly the opposite. The residents look like humans. Unless you look closely, pay a lot more attention. We seek exactly the opposite of what you people seek. We thrive in sadness and despair. For us, darkness and death is what's light and life for you people. I looked at him confused. I couldn't wrap my head around a single thing he said. What do we need to do? What's the ritual? Like I asked. I don't know what you are saying. I just wanted to help a little kid. On the side of a secluded road, away from civilization, I didn't sign up for all this shit. I need to go back home. I can't do any of this. I blurted out loud, frustrated. You can scream, cry, do whatever you want to, but nothing can help you except doing what I'm telling you to. You sealed your fate the moment you stopped for me and started talking to me. The moment I looked directly at you, he said, in an impossibly calm tone, I don't know why, just me. You said you have been walking for 5 or so years, whatever. So why now? Why me? You have been chosen. When we accidentally cross the barrier and enter your world, we become invisible. You people cannot see us. There are and have been thousands of us, walking among you, trying to cross the barrier. It takes years, if not decades. While we are invisible to you people, there are still some people out there like you who can see us, who can hear us, and feel us. You are one of them, and you are now going to be my savior. He said, looking directly into my eyes, your savior. I cannot even save my own self. How would I save you something out of this world? I am annoyed at myself now. You'll see, Makeup. You're mine first. Would you like to drive nonstop for 2 years or perform the ritual and end it right now? He asked. I started thinking about it, going to drive for 2 years and then getting back to my life. What life? Nothing would be the same till then. My apartment won't be mine anymore. My job is gone. My BF will move on and my friends and family will assume me dead. There will be nothing left to go back to. I looked at the boy and said, I will go for the ritual. I'll do it. Let's just get it over with and let me just go back home. He nodded, looking satisfied. Thank you. It'll save me some time. I have been waiting for you for years now, to be able to perform the ritual and get back to my realm. He sighed. We need to stop the car now and get out to perform the ritual before sunrise. He said in an excited tone, his eyes shining. I parked along the side of the road and stopped the car. The boy got out in a heartbeat. Without even waiting for me, I got out and followed him. The rain pouring down on us. Where are we going? I asked. Keep walking until we reach somewhere far away from the road, deep into the woods, and keep in mind to not look back or around much. While we are walking, there might be someone else present from my world stuck here as well. And now that we both know you can see us, if you happen to look at him, you'll be responsible for getting him out of here as well. Oh my God, what in the fucking hell is this situation right now? Another one of you people, I just can't. I kept following him, looking down while doing so, in order to make sure that I don't look at anyone else from his world. Within minutes, we were deep into the woods, far away from the roads. Everything looked and felt so eerie. I couldn't hear anything apart from the rain pouring down. There was no other soul in sight. After walking for a while, the boy stopped and turned around to face me. You need to be brave in order to do this. You need to trust me and not question me. It won't take long, but in case we fail to complete the ritual before sunrise, we'll have no other choice but to drive for 2 more years. At least, the ritual only works if performed on the same night of the meeting, the same night we meet our saviors, he added. Taking a deep breath, he asked, are you ready to perform the ritual of Sargarath? I had no other choice but to go along with it and perform this damn ritual of Sarga the Earth, whatever. I looked at him, taking a deep breath. I'm ready. Let's do it. We have got 4 hours till sunrise. We need to keep that in mind. The very first thing we need to make the ritual successful is blood. It can be any blood, any animal's blood, human blood, whatever. he said, looking around. How are we going to get blood? Now, I don't see a single animal here. Not that I'm going to kill a poor animal for a ritual. We have no choice but to offer my own blood, I said. The boy looked at me and rolled his eyes. It's not a drop of blood that we need, but a lot of it. You can offer that much blood alone. So we are going to offer our blood, you and me, together, he said. It felt weird to let a kid do all that. I mean, he wasn't a kid. He wasn't even human. But he was in a child's body, looking almost human. It felt strange. Okay, so do you have something to take our blood out or cut ourselves or something like that? I asked. The boy reached into his pocket and took out the same sack that he used before to take those chocolate chunks, like things out of. He reached into it and pulled out a blade-like thing, but it was weird. It was too thick to look like a blade. He made me sit down on the ground and reached into the sack, pulling out a little box. He opened the box and started making a small triangle around us, with something powdery present in the box. No matter what happens, don't look around much. Don't go out of this triangle until sunrise. I repeat, no matter what, you have to stay in this triangle until sunrise, he said. After making the triangle, he sat in front of me, crossed his legs, and spoke. If you leave the ritual in between without completing it properly, you'll be stuck in between the two realms, and you'll lose your mind and eventually either kill yourself or die. Nobody will be able to save you, he added, looking into my eyes. I don't know how, but I felt brave enough to do it. It felt like I could do it and get over with all this. Go back home and fall into a deep slumber with my boyfriend cuddling me. I wanted to end it as soon as possible. All right, I won't leave the triangle or end the ritual before completing it, I said. The boy picked the blade-like thing and ran it across his abnormally small palm-black viscous liquid pouring out of his palm. He let his blood drip down on the ground between the two of us. After the wound stopped bleeding, he made another deep cut, this time on his arm. More blood pouring out now. It felt like forever. Watching a kid bleeding like that in front of you felt horrible, but he wasn't a kid, I told myself. After the ground was completely soaked by his blood, he lifted his gaze and looked at me. Ready? I hesitated for a moment, but then quickly stretched my hand out. Do it! He made a deep cut on my palm. For a moment, I didn't feel any pain, but then the pain hit me like a truck. It felt like too much. I wanted to take my hand back, scream, and run out of there, but I couldn't do that. I had to be brave. Blood pouring down on the same spot, soaked by his blood. We both sat in silence, watching it. After what felt like forever, he looked at me and went for my arm, cutting it even deeper. More deep red blood coming out of my arm, falling on the ground. I felt lightheaded. The dizziness was too much to bear. I wanted to sleep, close my eyes, and not think about anything, but the boy spoke. Don't close your eyes, keep looking on the ground. After we were done with the blood offering part, the boy took some jelly-like thing out of his old reliable sack, wrapped in some sort of wrapper. He used it on his wounds and then asked for my hand, rubbing it on my throbbing and aching wounds. As soon as the substance hit my wounds, it felt much better. The burning wounds felt way too cool now. The pain almost gone. I looked at him and he smiled. Now that the basic preparation for the ritual is done, we shall go ahead, the boy said in a surprisingly serious tone.